Hey guys, Jeff Barber here again for RC Universe, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. A lot of people have heard the term pulse width modulation. It's been tossed around in our industry a bit, and a lot of people might not be familiar with what it is and how it works. So we're going to start with a brief definition of what pulse width modulation is, and I'm going to read it right off of the sheet I have taped in front of my camera, because it's kind of a longer definition, and it's kind of lengthy. So here we go. Definition for pulse width modulation is: pulse width modulation is a term used to describe a digital signal. That's simple enough, right? But how is it used? Pulse width modulation is used in a variety of applications, including sophisticated control circuitry. A common way to use pulse width modulation is to control dimming of red, green, and blue LEDs. You know, the light strips, the LED strips that everybody's got these days, the ones that change colors. That's how they're doing it. But more importantly to us radio control enthusiasts is the next use, or controlling the direction of a servo motor. Not only does it control the direction, but it can also control the distance that servo motor travels. So think about it this way: dual rates, triple rates, endpoint adjustment, all of that has to do with pulse width modulation. Now, one of the neat things that we've got coming out is a pulse width modulation meter, and that's going to be available from Servocity, from a company called Actobotics. I've got it right here. You can take a look at it. Nice bright pink bag. Pretty cool. Let me get it out of the bag for you. There's not much included with it. So we have a small board, and I'll get into this in a little bit more detail in just a minute. And we have a servo extension. Now, I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to get it set up on the table, and I'm going to show you exactly what we're talking about, and I'm going to give you a useful application of how you can see this in action. So bear with me a minute. I'll be right back. So here on the board, you'll see I've got a basic setup, something that you'd have in your standard RC aircraft, helicopter, however you choose to use it. Got my receiver battery, a receiver, got the pulse width modulation meter in line between the receiver, and here I'm using a high-tech digital servo. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using the Grotner MZ24 Pro radio, but for all intents and purposes, it'll work the same with any transmitter and any receiver that you've got. Now, as you can see, I've got this set up, and I've got it actually set up on my aileron channel. So what you've got is a full range of motion. This is 100% travel on the servo, and we're going from a full right stick at 1099 microseconds to 1898 on a full left, and we're going to center back at 1499. Now, when I say microseconds, I mean 1499 microseconds in the duty cycle, which means that is where it's getting its signal. The signal is on or off. That's the duty cycle, and depending on how long that duty cycle is on is where that servo is in its range. So as you can see here, we got 1497, 1499. It's jumping around a little bit, but you're talking microseconds, so it's really, you're not going to notice it. Again, full left and full right. You can see that there's a difference there, and that's how the meter you can use the meter to see that your receiver is working, but you can also use it to see if you've got a servo working. So if you've got a servo that's not going through its full range of motion, but the meter is registering and saying that, yep, the receiver is sending out a signal that's the full spectrum of what it's supposed to be doing, then you know you got a problem in the servo. Vice versa, if you got a servo that looks like it's working but you're not getting a full signal out of the receiver, you might have a problem with your receiver as well. Now, interestingly enough, if I go in and I set this up for a dual rate, So we're going to set it. I've got it set for low rates at 35%.
Mid rates.
We're going to set the mid rates at 65, or well, we'll go 75.
High rate.
And then we have high set at 125. So if we turn that to low rates, you can see you've got a smaller range of numbers on the meter. We're going from 1639 full left to 1359 full right, but we've also got the limited servo travel, signifying that we've got our 35% travel.
Mid rates.
If we go to mid rates, we got more servo travel, but we also have larger numbers. But you'll also see that we have a larger difference in the numbers on the meter as well. And again, now if we go to high rates, you've got even larger numbers. Because we're at 125%, you've got larger numbers and smaller numbers than what you would have had when you had it set at 100% or your standard servo operation. So again, you can use this to see that your receiver is working, and you can also use it to verify that your servos are working once you know that your receiver is putting out the signal that it's supposed to do. So again, it will work with any system. It works with digital and analog servos. It works with pretty much anything. You can use this with verifying RC car servos and receivers. You could do helicopters and airplanes. Everything's going to work with this system and this setup, and it's a pretty cool little tool that you can use. You might want to set it, or install it in an aircraft or in your car, but it's as a tool that you can use on different channels. It's probably better used that way. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for this part of the review, and thanks for watching.